Bean.
Which one you got over there, Trev? Oh, you don't have a shebeen. You're doing something else. Organic. What do you got, Ryan? What do you got over there?
Trev luckily still had one John Beer left.
Oh, the Johnny.
Oh, killing the Johnny.
John Beer.
They got any more left at the brewery?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, cool.
Too bad you're not coming to the shoot, the WCB shoot, July 20th. If you want to go, hit up Working Class Bowhunter for registration or application.
That's my birthday.
No one cares. It's a WCB shoot. But we'll celebrate your birthday that day, then.
All right.
You know,
I'll
that'd
have
be
a
cool.
shebeen for my birthday.
I'm still stuck on the Guava Kush. And no, the beer. Guava Kush beer.
Beer.
It's the sour yum.
Very organic.
It is. It tastes good. Perfect for a
it.
Mexican. So welcome back to the show. This is the East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. Sorry, we're having a good time. What you're going to run into in this episode is we hook up with Meghan Patrick, country singer, songwriter from Canada. You guys are having a good time tonight, huh?
Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. It was a good time.
It
Dude,
was.
Awesome episode.
Actually, let's start with Trev. What do you think about Meghan Patrick?
I think that, like I said in the episode, that she's just an absolute down-to-earth, badass chick. She definitely gets down with what we get down with in our beliefs of everything as far as hunting and conservation goes. And it was just cool to hear her talk about all those things. I mean, and even being humble about the fact of just being newer into the hunting world and getting taken under the wing of some of her friends and going out and just absolutely slaying.
Yeah, because as good looking as she is, she's actually tomboy, or grew up as a tomboy rather, and she had the right people surrounded by the right friends, and they got her in the correct way, which is every new hunter's dream. Ryan, what'd you take away from the show, actually?
Just such an awesome episode. Listening to her stories, in particular her big buck kill. And I believe she said it was her first kill, right? Or her first deer kill.
First deer, yeah.
And her just pumping lead. So, awesome storyteller, awesome woman, awesome musician, and hunter and conservationist, like Trev said. And she's just exactly what we strive for here at East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. So, tune in to find out. But she's a savage. She's a savage both in the music industry and in the outdoor world. So, it was freaking awesome. So, stay tuned to it.
Yeah, like one of our good friends said on our episode that released in Podcast Land a couple weeks ago, if the lead wasn't flying, something wasn't dying.
That's it.
And that's what she was all about. So shout out to Clint Casper.
Hell yeah, and that's all I could think about when she was talking about just pumping lead into this thing, and that's all I could think about was Clint saying that.
And the fact that, you know, her adrenaline was going and she's like, oh, I could pick up a whole fucking Chevy. Just that she shot this big deer and she just did it on her own and being so independent and strong-willing, and I think that she's going to go very far, and winning all of the awards also that she's won in the music industry is just next to none, something amazing.
That was pretty cool. We were lucky enough to hook up with her as her friends surprised her and brought her to a place. She took a break. We were very humbled and appreciative for her to take time out of her celebration, because the night prior to when we recorded, she received 5 different awards, and we touched on that too, but it was mainly hunting stories from someone that's very passionate to the outdoors and extremely passionate to music, and quite honestly that goes hand in hand, because every hunter out there in the world definitely has some type of theme music in their head as they're getting ready for the woods. So
sometimes Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Listen, I think that was one of my notes, actually. Let me look here in the notes. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's one of the topics. If you don't like my music, go buy a Taylor Swift CD.
That's why I went there.
Yeah. And you know what? She's a fan of Taylor Swift, but not everyone is, and that was her point. If you don't like the flavor, change the station.
Yep.
So on that note, brace yourself. This is going to be a badass episode.
Keep playing and slaying.
Lydia Walter, why East Coast Bowhunting Podcast?
Because neither one of us wear pink camo.
East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. 4, 3, 2,
Look, man, I'm from Wisconsin. I listen to the East Coast bow hunters because you don't get anything more real than these guys.
Because East Coast bow hunting sets the standards for keeping its listeners informed on everything that matters in the hunting industry.
It's nice having somebody, local and represent the East Coast boys.
The East Coast is going to saddle up.
Number one source for slaying whitetails on the East Coast.
Well, you might see Jesus if you actually shoot something, it'll get you into heaven.
Why East Coast? Why not? I'm East Coast, baby. That's how we roll. Chew on that.
Come on the show, a stranger, and you feel like one of the boys when you leave.
Because I get my hunting camp anytime I want.
There's some absolute monsters roaming the East Coast, and I think it needs a little attention. So why not bring it to the East Coast Bowhunters podcast?
Man, because East Coast is a tight-knit crew, and y'all like me. Raw, real, no bullshit.
Because you guys are hometown boys. I love you guys.
This is Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bowhunter, and East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is the only hunting podcast I'll tune into.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the East Coast Bowhunting Podcast, where the beers are cracking and the deer are getting a whacking. I'm your boy D-Rock, here with
East Coast Trev
and
Ryan the Porn Star.
And we're here at Slayer Studio in Coventry, Connecticut, hiding in the mountains of God's heaven. We get down to the grace and grit of Meghan Patrick, country singer-songwriter, as she talks about her passion for music as well as the passion for the outdoors. Today's episode is brought to you by Shabeen Brewing. Shabeen, the hunter's beer.
The only beer you can put in your Cheerios.
Well, what's your favorite Shabeen beer?
I still love that John beer, but any of the Yum Yums. But before Shabeen, I was never an IPA drinker. Now I can't get enough of them.
Ah, now you're IPA thinker.
That's what's up.
So 100 Demons, East Coast hardcore music known worldwide.
It's the best hardcore music out there.
And what do you
East
like about
Coast
them?
Style.
Fuck yeah. Trev's Euros for all your Euro Mountain needs.
Trev's Euros. You got a lot of shitty work out there, but you got to check out this dude's shit. You get it right the first time, it's not going back.
Amen. Even though I'm still waiting for mine. Encore targets. Self-healing targets that self-heal your pockets.
They're actually a badass target. You can shoot them over 1,000 times.
Hell yeah. Easy on the pockets, too.
Easy on the pockets.
Tree Thrasher. Imitate the wild. East Coast 15.
Get that buck hot. Thinking you're another buck or even a doe. Just watch out for your rear end.
Hell yeah. What do you like about it?
What I like about it, man, I've always been trying to figure out how to complete that sound of the grunting, the rattling, and now with that Tree Thrasher, you're presenting that whole package to that buck.
Amen. Meyer trail cameras. Who's on your hit list?
They're probably the clearest trail cameras on the market.
It's like real life.
It is.
What
Probably
do you like,
the best.
What do you like about them most, though?
Easy setup, cheap on the pocket.
Word.
They even work good in the bedroom, too, right, Trev?
You would know, wouldn't you?
Only the porn star knows.
I was hoping I'd get that one.
Death Wish Coffee, the world's strongest coffee. East Coast 10.
It is the strongest coffee you will ever drink, but you got to drink it black. Do not put any sugar in it, cream. Get the full flavor Death Wish coffee.
As Mark would say, it'll give you dragon's breath.
So you like your coffee how you like your women?
That's right, buddy.
Oh, man. Outright hunting products. V-More Pro is the last bow hanger you'll ever buy.
They are the best bow hanger or accessory hanger at that. Putting your cameras on it, you can do just about anything with it.
I think you like it best because it keeps you occupied, huh?
It does.
With the ADD
Yeah,
and shit?
ADD. I'd just be playing around with it, put it in different places.
Yeah. Ooh, let me try this one. So many activities.
There goes the deer.
Adult activities.
Shit. Ethics Archery is like steroids for your arrows.
If you don't shoot ethics, then fuck you. No, I know I've used that one, but seriously though, the penetration that these things give, I've shot them just, of course, for years without ethics components. Now with them, it's damn hard to get those things out of targets now.
You know about penetration and hard.
Yeah, that's why I was the perfect person for this.
And it's even like it's like shooting a shotgun. You can feel the jump in your hand when those things take off. They're so damn heavy.
Are you still talking about Ethics Archery?
Yeah. Yeah.
Promo code East Coast 10. Oh, man. This is a little crazy, getting a little out of hand. So, nor'easter game calls. Get them in close. What do you got to say, Ryan?
You want me to say?
Yeah.
They're made by Madman Mock, and he puts every detail and love into each and every call that comes out of his office.
Custom calls, 3D memories. Mab Custom Knives is also part of his corporation there, and he makes every call one at a time. So it's handmade every single time per order. And he does have some on the website. You get from coyote calls, crow calls. You get your ECB Blood Series grunt calls, turkey pot calls.
Even squirrel calls.
Yeah, now they come in nice little...
blood bags.
I know. Blood bags. And the hunting memories and turkey box calls, they come in a nice black velvet bag, too. So it's pretty dope. Pretty dope. What else we got on the line? This show is driven by Scranton Motors and powered by Scranton Power Sports.
They're the best.
Please elaborate.
All of your car and UTV, ATV needs, even dirt bikes,
trucks as well,
sleds, you name it, they got it. Best customer service on the coast.
Hell yeah. Scranton provides us transportation every time we go to shoots or trade show season, or if we just want to use a car around for the day.
Hooks up our own sponsors.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He does hook up our own sponsors, so we're one big happy family. So we saddle up with Wild Edge Inc., the leader in mobile hunting.
You will get your fat ass in that saddle.
Are you talking to Trev, or are you just talking to our listeners?
I'm talking to all of us, man.
Jesus, I'm not fat anymore. Yeah. I went from chubby to slimming down. I'm in the transition
process.
phase. I am. I'm a work in progress. So
Wild continued.
Yeah, to make it easier to use my aider to hop in my Wild Edge steps, and this way I can set up my perch. And you never know. Check them out for merch, because the Wild Edge merch is pretty awesome. They got saddle up t-shirts, unless you're Trev and you got a saddle up tattoo on your stomach.
Live wild.
You don't need the t-shirt at that point.
Yeah, just take the shirt. No, don't take your shirt off. And hopefully we'll be seeing something else coming soon right around the corner from them. I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
So this show is presented by Working Class Bowhunter, the only podcast that sponsors another, the only show that is self-made to where they are now. The OGs of the hunting podcasts that set the pace of all the other hunting podcasts out there today. Get you some merch using promo code ECB to get you a quick discount off their store, to get you some Midwest flavor. If you love the single life, not Tinder, but HHA, well then swipe up and get on our level using promo code WCB15 to save you some cash for your ass. East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is here as always for new and old hunters by sharing our experiences in the woods through playing and slaying. What's up?
What is up, boys?
What's up, fellas?
Damn, I like that. I like that little sponsor intro. You know?
Yeah.
As it gets a little more
whack.
Yeah, you know.
Get a little crazy.
Yeah.
A little cray-cray.
Yeah, I think we could do better in Trev's Euros, though, Ryan.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him he's not the greatest because D-Rock hasn't gotten his piece yet.
Well, you're in the back of the line. I got a doe waiting too, and
he's got it.
A deadhead from 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I told you have to do your own fucking deadhead. I don't do deadheads.
All the skinning I do for you, bro.
I don't do deadheads. That means I gotta boil the fucking thing.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I try not to put them in the beetles because all of the diseases and all the bullshit.
That's true.
Just try not to.
That's
I got
true.
enough problems with keeping them stupid things alive.
I got some other little pieces now that deer season's over, so we'll hook it up.
On.
We'll hook it up. But on a serious note, Trev is the best for Euros here in Connecticut, probably in the surrounding states as well. He does it a top notch. I mean,
it's the Connecticut makes it really tough on me because I can't take anything from most states. So New York, I can't take anything from. Pennsylvania, I can't take anything from. I mean, I probably would be.
What about
a
Ohio?
Bigger business. No, Ohio. I can't take
do Ohio?
No, Illinois, Iowa, Ohio, Canada.
What about Jersey?
Kansas.
Can you do Jersey?
I believe I can do Jersey.
What about Maryland?
Maryland is a no-go.
Damn.
I went through that.
Those are
because I was going to do one for G, and I couldn't do it.
Damn, because I'm hunting Ohio, PA, New Jersey, and Maryland this year.
Yep.
And
so that means you're going to have to get them mounted. Yeah, man.
I'm
it
Mexican.
Sucks, dude.
Don't they
You're
know I'm
telling me-
broke?
You're telling me, man, it kills my pockets, dude, because I know plenty of people out there that would send them my way and can't do it. I was going to try. I offered to do one for Stevie Mo, but then come to find out that I couldn't do it. But he's mounting his anyway, so.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm
I think
excited
it's
to
more
see it.
badass.
I want him to get a fucking monster this year.
I think he deserves it.
I don't think he deserves it. I think he needs to earn it.
No, I'm saying I think he earns it, so that's why he deserves it.
If he earns it, yeah, he'll deserve it.
Yeah, of course.
But you got to earn it.
Fuck yeah.
It's like anything in life.
Agreed.
So, past week catch up, Ryan. Why are you cheesing over there?
I'm just laughing at you guys, making fun of Stevie Mo over here.
No, I'm being real.
Oh, absolutely.
Being real
He can't ride a mechanical bull, but I like him.
Actually, he did pretty good.
Yeah, for
16
2
seconds.
The rest, it was 2 seconds. The rest was luck.
Like that little video I put together for that? That was
did.
hilarious.
For sure.
Oh, man. So, past week catch up. What you got, Ryan?
Past week catch up, man. Grinding at work still, but I have still been practicing, weekly with my Wild Edge steps and my gear and being comfortable up at hunting height. Sooner than later, we'll get up there and, nice saddle with that perch on there and start shooting from hunting height. So, getting ready for the season, just being comfortable with climbing. One of these days, I'm thinking I'm actually going to do it in the dark as well. See how that goes. You don't want that first.
Oh, you're used to that.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no, you do lights,
a little
right?
bit of light. Yeah, dim light.
Oh, okay.
Dim light, sex light.
Yeah.
So one of these days, I'll get around and try and do it in the dark. So that way, the first time I do it is not opening day. So.
Are you going to be playing like porn music as you do it in the dark?
I can.
Setting up your Wild Edge steps and making it kind of kinky? Or?
Yeah. I'll send you a video.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
We'll take a
I'll
pass.
probably see it on Grindr or something. What about you, Trev?
Man, just getting ready to go back to work, Coast Guard inspections, just kind of grinding it out there, fishing. I mean, not really much hunting. Hopefully can get out on the water and do some more bow fishing. I'm really excited about that. Been talking to Drew about getting out with him and just kind of getting back on that daily grind, man.
Drew
Walter.
Oh, Boneyard.
Yeah, we've been talking about trying to get out. So hopefully this week.
And what are you guys fixing to do?
Kill something.
Well, obviously, but can you elaborate a bit?
Killing some carp, shooting some fish.
What, on his boat?
Yeah, on his boat. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep, because he's been going out a ton. He ended up doing really well this week or last week and got a couple of fish, and so.
Damn,
trying to get in on that action.
I'm trying to get him to talk. They just give me one word answers here and there. It's like, geez.
My apologies. It's been crazy. I'm tired today, so.
Yeah, I did see Boneyard's pictures though. He killed it pretty good.
Yeah,
he had a couple cool
really
videos
well.
and some nice fish.
And they keep on slaying down south, Nick and G.
Yeah, they did really good. I'll go into that in detail in a little bit, but they did really good. G did a personal just one man shoot and did really well on the snakes.
Oh, he slayed it with the snakes. Yeah,
so
I was seeing that. That's
a
really
lot
cool.
of good things. Like I said, man, them fish are getting off and onto different patterns and getting ready to get shot.
What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the weekly Whitetail News with Ryan the Porn Star. Excuse me a moment. Breaking news just coming into the studio here. D-Rock, is that an Elite box?
It is.
Our Elite Rituals from Gator Outdoors have arrived, and I finally got my hands on this absolutely incredible Ritual 33 in Real Tree Snow Camo. And it's even better than I expected. I passed it around to these guys, of course. Got a little moist, but we're right back into it. Now I can't wait to out for this thing with some gear, some HHA, some CBE products. We're going to be going all out on this thing, so stay tuned on what we're going to be putting on our bows. So now that I'm done drooling over this thing, let's get into some hunting news throughout the country. There's currently a bill heading to the Senate Appropriations Committee in the commie liberal state of fucking California, Trev. That one's for you. Which is going to be making it illegal to sell furs. So now there's already bans on trapping, all sorts of different things. But this, of course, is being driven by Democrat Assembly member Lorena S. Gonzalez as her final push towards the complete ban on trapping and fur sales in the state of California.
Lorena, watch your back.
Lorena, what's up?
I want to wish you the best of luck, bitch.
It was joking. I was joking. Please don't take me literal. I'll get someone to do it for me.
So any of you listeners out there who may unfortunately still be finding yourself living in Cali, run fast and get the fuck out of there. Or if you must live there, do your part and contact your state rep and tell them you oppose Assembly Bill 273. Do not let them do this. They're already taking away your rights for so many other things. let's make sure we can still sell some furs out there.
Don't you usually shave, though?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, you shave your fur. Oh, man.
All right. Now for some good news to you in the industry. For those of you saddle hunters out there that have been so impatiently waiting for that Arrow Hunter Flex that you ordered, well, Arrow Hunter team has been pumping them out, and the reviews are pouring into social media platforms everywhere. And the Arrow Hunter Flex is the bee's knees. Pair that up with a perch and steps from Wild Edge Inc. and become the best mobile hunter you can be.
With a ritual in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Valor.
Elite.
Yeah, shoot elite.
Now, for those of you self-filmers out in the tree, I know you have problems with your camera arm. It's not perfect. There's something about it you don't like. It just doesn't do everything you wish it did, or it's too heavy, or it's just a pain in the ass to maneuver when the time is right. Well, that problem is no more thanks to our boy Garrett Benner, a.k.a. the Modern Assassin. He's designing the ultimate camera arm, and knowing G, he's working out every flaw, sleepless nights, making sure that this thing is going to be perfect. So check out Garrett Benner, the Modern Assassin, on Facebook and see what I'm talking about. Check out his videos, and you're going to know what's going on. And that is your weekly Whitetail News, brought to you by Ryan the Porn Star. And as always, send me your news.
And Trevor, the nudes.
Yeehaw.
What was that? What was that?
Huh?
What was that?
What was
I don't
that?
know. Uh-oh. It's my turn. Blooper. Forging and fishing fun with East Coast Trev. I don't really have much to say. I'm just kidding.
Good. On to the next segment.
I'm just No, the coast is still hot and steady with good numbers of big keeper bass pouring in day by day.
No more schoolies?
There's still a lot of schoolies. A lot of schoolies, but there's definitely some bigger fish moving in. Actually, I just got a report from our boy Luke Wiggins, and they are on fire right now, fishing in New York. So, and that was literally like a second ago.
Now, when you say fishing in New York, you mean the Sound or abutting the Atlantic Ocean?
So they are in the Sound.
Oh, okay.
Not until you get after the point of Montauk do you get out to the well. Actually, it's kind of fucked
Well, you don't have
up.
to get specific. I was just wondering if they were like in between Long Island and Connecticut, or on the other side of Long Island.
So when you're running out of Connecticut, like near the mouth of the Thames River, once you get out past Fisher's Island, then that becomes Atlantic Ocean. If you were to go west, then that's back into the Sound. So it's
Right.
like it's one of them like weird fucking transitions there. But also in New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, the porgy fishing has became red hot. All you can get. Fluke fishing is still very, very slow. Not a lot of keepers and plenty of shorts to be found. Sea bass are starting to move into deeper holes after their spawning season. And also in offshore news, the West Atlantic Canyon is loaded up with mahi, yellow, and bluefin tuna.
That's
and
dope.
A cool report of a white marlin was caught out there.
Oh, that's
this
dope.
past weekend. So that was kind of cool.
When
Something
you
a little
taking
bit different.
me and the porn star out?
I don't really go offshore anymore, man. I don't have the boat for it, but we're going to find a way out there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fuck yeah.
You got to know someone.
I do know a bunch of people.
Well, cash in.
That's it. And as
we have an East Coast account for a reason.
Oh. Also, to go along with that, like we were talking before, Drew and Travis Perry were absolutely laying down the smackdown on some Connecticut carp, and they also shot a pretty big bowfin. I don't know. It probably looked in the 6 to 8 pound range. Really big bowfin. Kind of like a snakehead, kind of the cousin.
Is that big for a bowfin?
That is a very big bowfin, the one they shot.
Nice.
Speaking of big fish, the Poa Monk Monster Bash Gar Tournament, our boys from Working
Class Outdoorsman.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I said Working Outdoorsman because I wrote it wrong because I'm a fucking idiot. Working Class Outdoorsman
out of Maryland,
Nick Mathers, and his friends Nadia, Sean, they got the big fish pool at that tournament.
With a catfish, right?
Yeah, catfish and a snakehead. Big fucking snakehead. So they They beat him up over there. That was pretty cool.
How big was the catfish, you know?
I have no idea.
Dude, it must have been.
It
To
looked
me,
like 15 pounds.
I was about to say about 15 to 18.
Yeah, I would
Because
guess.
that belly was huge.
It was definitely a really big catfish.
But
no guards. They actually didn't get a guard, but they actually still won the big fish.
Oh, shit.
So that was kind of cool. In foraging news, not really much going on.
It's been a little dry for that.
It has
very
been
dry.
There's still some chicken in the woods and golden oysters. At this time of the year, it really always sucks. But
Why? Why does it suck? Can you elaborate a bit?
Because there's not a moisture and it's too hot, and a lot of the mushrooms.
So closer to the swamps, probably.
Yeah, they like that cool, dry, or cool, wet areas. So right now it's kind of too dry for them. But don't worry, come deer season in the fall, things will be back up in full swing.
Awesome. You do sound tired. I'm about to slap the shit out
sorry.
of you. Know what it is. You need more Shabin beer.
I guess
that's what it really is.
Yeah.
Nah, ain't no guessing, bro. Pick up that smoothie shot. Well, I don't know about you. I'm pumped. I want to get Meghan Patrick on the show. And
Hell yeah.
I'm really
talk some country music, talk some hunting. I mean, all in all, she's out of Canada and singer-songwriter, but she's about 75 miles east of Toronto, so technically speaking, she's East Coast.
That's East Coast, baby.
That is East Coast.
Hell yeah.
It is. It's
over the border, East Coast.
It's just over New York, on I want to say mid to East New York, so
over the other border.
The good border, I guess. The only border that they don't want to build a wall, but it's much harder to get through.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Have you tried?
I always do.
Yeah,
I'm sneaky.
They let you through?
I'm just afraid of...
They don't even know I go.
I'm afraid of going over the border and not being able to come back. Then I'm fucking stuck there.
How would you not be able to come back?
Because, like, if you go up there, like, near, like, Niagara Falls or something, and you just walk through, and then when they go to check you to come back, you'll be fucked. I don't have a passport.
Oh, all right.
So you're the Mexican.
Yeah, you really are the Mexican.
I guess so.
No shit. Let's get Meghan Patrick on the phone.
Do it.
Peace.
Every reason why every other guy ran away is every reason why you love me and why you say, yeah, our rough edges fit together. You're the missing piece I didn't know I need. We'll be dirt flying, running forever like two one-time Mustangs. Baby, you're wild as me. My once in a lifetime made of the same kind of crazy. I want every sunset, every sunrise. When you hold me tight, it sets me free. I thank God I found somebody wild as me.
All right, we're back on the line with Meghan Patrick. How you doing, Meg?
I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show. I know you must be really busy right now and got a lot of stuff going on currently. So let's just kick it off right and let our listeners know who are you, where you're from, and where we can find you.
Okay. Well, I'm Meghan Patrick. I was born and raised in Bowmanville, Ontario. I'm currently living in Nashville. I've been here about 2.5 years. I'm a country singer, songwriter with a passion for the outdoors. My social media, I guess, just Meg Patrick Music on Instagram and Twitter, and then just Meghan Patrick, Meghan. Don't forget the H. It's a good Irish way to spell it.
There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a start.
Nice. So we're just talking off the air a little bit, and I mean, if we want to get technical, I mean, maybe not on Canada terms, but you're almost East Coast. So welcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. So what got you started in? Let's start with music. Let's get to know the music side of you. What started you into music? What gave you that first initial time to like pick up an instrument, or even a microphone?
I guess music has kind of always been a big part of my life. Just, I mean, both my parents, like my whole family. I mean, I don't have anybody that's like a professional musician or anything, but my mom actually used to be a DJ back in college, so she's just like a big music lover. And I think she used to sing a little bit back in the day. And then my dad, when I was in high school, he used to play guitar a little bit when he was younger, and he kind of picked it back up just as sort of a hobby when I was in high school. But I don't know, just like where we grew up, like we grew up in a pretty rural area. I mean, it's actually not that rural anymore. It's gotten a lot more developed, and people, you know, the haters love to be like, oh, you're not from the country, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I grew up in fucking cornfields and four-wheelers and doing the same kind of shit. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because people love to talk shit. But anyway.
Hey, if you don't have haters, then you ain't doing it right. So
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, growing up, like, we weren't, it's not like we weren't allowed to watch TV, but, like, our parents were very, very careful about, like, unless it was, like, a freaking tornado outside or, like, you know, minus 50-degree weather, like, you get home from school and you get your ass outside until the sun goes down. And, you know, so I spent a lot of time in the outdoors growing up. You know, we had a creek that run behind the house, so we'd go down there and swim and fish and stuff, and I was always into a lot of outdoor sports and stuff like that. And, you know, when we were in the house, it was just like TV off and music on. Like my mom would play records all the time. And so I kind of grew up with like a pretty eclectic taste in music for a kid my age, because it wasn't just listening to top 40 radio. It was, you know, all the stuff that my parents loved and grew up with. It was a lot of like Southern rock and classic rock. Like my mom was really big into like the Allman Brothers and the Eagles.
Oh, that's awesome.
My dad was the one who kind of introduced me to the more like classic rock and like blues side of things. Like he showed me like Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, and he's really into like a lot of Delta blues stuff, like Robert Johnson and Sun House and Muddy Waters, and that's the kind of stuff he likes to play on guitar too. So I had a pretty like wide range of music growing up. My mom also listened to a lot of like Motown soul stuff, and she listened to like a little bit of country, like really old school, like a little bit of Hank Williams and like Waylon and stuff. But I actually really didn't grow up with country music, like all the like 90s stuff. Like I didn't really get into that honestly until I was probably about like 21. And I'm 32 now, so it was kind of later. I mean, I was around it. A lot of my friends that I grew up with listened to country, so it was around. It just wasn't what I was like into growing up. I was really into rock, and then I had my punk band when I was an angsty teenager, and you know, kind of went through like a lot of phases and I just love music in general, and it kind of, I think that when it really started, I started playing in a bluegrass band when I was about 22, and we did that pretty seriously for about 4 years.
The Stone Sparrows you talking about?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Word.
So these are all guys from my hometown. And, you know, so we did that for a while, and it kind of got to a point where, I mean, bluegrass is such a, like, niche genre. It's pretty hard to, like, make it in bluegrass unless you're, you know, Alison Krauss or Vince Gill or whatever.
Yeah.
And the other guys in my band, you know, they had other stuff to kind of fall back on. But for me, like, music was, like, plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Right.
And so I was kind of, like, even just within my writing, like, I was naturally kind of starting to go more towards like the more like mainstream country stuff anyway. And then so my bass player and my fiddle player ended up opening up their own brewery in our hometown.
Oh, where? What's the name of it? You mind sharing the name?
Yeah, they don't have it anymore. They've actually started on a new one, but it was called Antler.
Oh,
and it was really cool. It was a great little like staple in our town. It actually, they opened it up in the warehouse next to my dad's business that he's owned since I was born. So it was all kind of in the same area, and it was kind of like the good hang. We go there, and I mean, it started like they just started making beer like for fun when we were younger, and it was really good. And we're like, this is actually really good. You guys should do this. So yeah, I mean, they kind of went off and did that, and like our other lead singer and guitar player, he's in the trade. He was a steam fitter, and he was getting busy at work, and so it was like kind of everybody had their thing, and I just wanted to do this. So then it was kind of like back at square one for a little while, just trying to figure things out and who I was like as a solo artist, because I'd always just been in bands. Like I'd never really done anything just as Meghan Patrick. So I was kind of like down and out, I guess you could say, for a few years. I used to work at the beer store, which I know is a Canadian thing, but in Canada, it's privately owned. So you can't go to like a gas station or grocery store or whatever. Like you have to go to the beer store. So I worked at the beer store and also sorted empties. So that was my job. And I mean, in no way am I looking down on it, but like, it's kind of a gross job. It's not, when you get the frat houses bringing in their empties that they've been collecting all summer that have been like sweltering in a garbage bag out in the heat.
Oh God. And all the spitters and shit.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Like the smells that I have smelled would haunt your dreams for the rest of your life.
We can imagine. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
So yeah, I was just kind of doing that and trying to do the music thing, but I didn't really have anything going on. And then finally somebody saw me play at a bar in Oshawa, which is another town just outside of where I grew up. And that introduced me to one person and another person. And then it kind of just started happening. And then when it started happening, it happened really fast. And next thing I knew, I was going in to meet with Warner Music Canada and my publisher, which at the time was called Olay. Now they're called Anthem Entertainment. And then I signed my publishing deal first as a songwriter. And then probably, I think within 6 months, I'd signed my deal with Warner Canada. And I'd been thinking about moving to Nashville before then because I just wanted to write. And I mean, if you want to write in country music, I mean, the biggest saturation of great songwriters in country are here in Nashville. But then I had the deal and it kind of made sense to stay there and establish myself. So that's what we started doing and put out a couple records and toured a bunch. And it kind of just came to a point where, you know, it was like, if I wasn't on the road, I was in Nashville writing and I was never really home. And so it kind of made sense to make Nashville home. And because my mother is American, I have dual citizenship. So it's kind of an easy move. I didn't have to get a visa or anything like that. I could just go and do it. So that was 2.5 years ago, and it was the best decision I ever made. And yeah, I mean, it's been great ever since.
That sounds awesome. And just for the record, your past endeavors, I love my favorite song is City Streets. That was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool showcase.
Wow, you guys really dug.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of music. So are Trevor Ryan, and I was deep into the music realm once upon a time ago myself. So I definitely share the passion there. But
that's awesome.
But that's cool how you segued into. That's how you evolved into a little bit of Angel and Double Shot of Devil, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I honestly owe so much to my bandmates in the Stone Sparrows. So Sam, who is the other lead singer and our lead guitar player, I mean, he was the first person that I ever like really seriously wrote songs with and like really got into like co-writing, like not just writing by myself. And I mean, he's a brilliant musician and songwriter. I mean, all those like riffs and everything in City Streets, like that's all him. Like he's just like a freak. He's so good at that stuff. And he grew up like his whole life playing bluegrass, so that was like in his blood.
That's dope.
And then Jim, our bass player, I mean, we've known each other since high school, and then same with Oliver, who's our fiddle player, and Oliver to this day still plays in my band. So we've been playing together for over 10 years now, which is awesome.
Hell yeah. That's the way to do it. That's how you know legends are born. You know what I mean? So that's pretty dope though, because you know what? We gotta hook you up with our buddy. You familiar with Nick Kaufman at all?
That sounds very familiar. I'm not great with names. Great with faces, terrible with names.
Well, he's a fiddle player, and recently he's in Tennessee as well. We gotta hook you up with him. He's the host for Nick's Wild Ride.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and he's, I mean, right up your alley too. I think you guys could probably collaborate on something big. That'd be pretty dope to see.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So let's take it back to the beginning. Who got you outdoors? Like what drew you to the outdoors?
Honestly, it was kind of myself. I mean, I didn't grow up in a family that hunted. Excuse me. I mean, that being said, I mean, I spent a lot of time on the water. My dad, he builds boats, like not for a living. He does it just as a hobby, but he builds like beautiful mahogany boats. Like, so if you're familiar with like Chris Crafts or hacker crafts, like all those like old mahogany wooden style boats.
Nice.
His father, my grandpa, was a boat builder as well, and so he learned everything from his dad. And then same thing. So I'll just talk about my dad for a second, because my dad's like my hero and my best friend.
Cool.
And
That's
he's
cool.
just like he owns his own business. He owns a iron foundry, so they make like iron castings. But also, he's a great athlete. He's like a national class swimmer, and he's holding records. So
Wow.
for a time, he was doing that. He's done Ironman. And then he started picking up the guitar as a hobby, and then the boat thing came, and so he just kind of did it. When he had a few hours, he'd go out to the garage. So he built this beautiful boat from scratch. And so a lot of my childhood, like growing up, we spent a lot of time on the water. So I would like go fishing and stuff. And then I was always kind of a tomboy. So like the majority of my friends growing up were guys. And I mean, we grew up out in the country, so they all fished and hunted and everything. And it kind of got to a point when I guess it would have been like in my early 20s, where it'd be fall and I'd want to go like bass fishing, and they'd be like, "Nah, I'm in the stand." I'm like, "Shit, okay, well, what's this all about?" And I went to my friend Justin's house one time, and they were just kind of smoking a bunch of meat, and they had venison and duck breast, and it was the first time I'd eaten venison. I was like, "What is this? This is delicious." And he's like, "It's venison, it's deer," and I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, well, this is my doe from last year, whatever." I'm like, "This is awesome. Like, I want to do this." And I also kind of got to a point where I felt like, I mean, I'm a meat eater for sure, and I felt like, you know what, if I'm gonna eat meat, like, I need to know what it feels like to harvest it for myself, because I almost had this feeling like, you know what, if I can't go out and do it for myself, then like I don't deserve to consume animals. It was kind of my headspace.
Amen.
And I just sorry, go ahead.
No, as amen. I was agreeing. Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't know. And like I said, I've just always loved being outdoors. I've done so many things outdoors. I was a competitive snowboarder for years, and I've just always, nature has just kind of always been my escape. So I'd said to my friend Justin, I was like, I want to do this. I'm like, if I go out and get my license, will you take me out and like show me the ropes? He's like, yeah, for sure. So next day I went, I signed up, I did my hunting license and my gun license. In Canada, it takes a long time. It was like probably 10 months all said and done by the time I did the course and then submitted my application and got everything back.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it takes a while. So when I finally got my license, it was just in time for turkey season. So my first hunt was a turkey hunt. We didn't see anything. And I went out with my buddy Justin, and, we went out in the morning and we didn't see anything. He's like, I feel bad. Like, we didn't see anything. He's like, are you like over it? I was like, hell no. I'm like, this was awesome. Like, I just loved the whole thing of like getting up super early, putting on the gear, painting my face, watching the sunrise, being still, being quiet, and even the excitement of something maybe coming out. I was just like, I just was already hooked, and I hadn't even seen an animal. And so I didn't get a turkey that season, but that coming deer season, I had all my guy friends that I hung out with. They had a hunt camp, and we call ourselves the Goatyard. And
The Goatyard, I like that.
There's a whole other story behind that. But anyway, I was like, so these guys all had grown up hunting. They'd never had a girl in their hunt camp. That just had never really even been a thing. But I was kind of like, I was like one of the guys to them. And so like, yeah, like you can come out and we'll show you the ropes. And so that was my first deer season. Same thing. Didn't see anything. And after that, they're like, man, like, you're probably over this. I was like, no, like, I love this. Like, this is great. And especially for me, that happened kind of when things were starting to ramp up for me with music. And so having the opportunity to, like, take a week off and, just get up, not put on makeup, not do my hair, just go out and sit in the woods, turn my phone off, not talk to anybody, not see anybody, not have to be on all the time. It just, that in and of itself was so amazing for me. And so then the following duck season was when I finally got my first kill. We went duck hunting, and it was a weird feeling. Like there's definitely, as I'm sure you guys can relate, it's kind of hard to explain, and I don't think I can still put my finger on it. It's not like you feel bad, but it's almost, there's just a weight to it of understanding that you just took a life. But when that happened, I did it, and I was kind of like, whoa, like, that was crazy. Like, I just took a life. But then, we went back to the camp and we cleaned it, and, we breasted all the ducks and we cooked it up and we ate them that night. And that whole process of, one, being out with your friends and the thrill of it and watching the sun come up and hanging out and all the guys being like so excited for me when I got my first duck and everything, and then eating it and just like knowing where my meat came from, I was like, yeah, like I'm hooked on this. So that's kind of when it really kicked up. And then that following deer season, I finally got my first deer, and it just happened to be a 10-point buck.
Nice.
Dressed out at like just under it was about 240.
Wow.
And it was crazy because and it was funny because that year, because after the last year, I was like, all right, because I had kind of just gone and sat wherever the guys told me, and I was like, all right, I'm getting my own property. I'm putting out cameras. Like, I'm doing it right this year. I'm getting a deer. And so I had actually, I went out and I found 2 different properties that I had sourced out. And one of them was one of my good friends growing up. It was his parents' place. And his mom, she has horses, and I kept my horse at their farm. So that's how I kind of started knowing the land. And, we'd go out on the trails. And then one day she just said to me, she's like, hey, like, would you want to hunt here? And I was like, yeah. This property, it's about 50 acres, but it was just like a safe haven because nobody had permission on this land in 30 years, but there was a lot of pressure around it. We've got, soybeans, corn, apples, like everything all around there. So it was like that one little area became like a safe haven for the deer because it was the one place where there wasn't hunting pressure. And then I had another property that was like 150 acres. And that's where I set up my stand and my cameras. The tracks through there were insane. And I was like, okay, this is the spot. Like, this is where I'm going to get my big deer. And so I spent the majority of that week hunting that same place, and I didn't see anything. And I was realizing that the deer were only really coming through there at night. And it was such a big property that I hadn't had time to really figure out where they were during the day at all, or even if maybe they were just passing through that property. So I was kind of frustrated because I thought, okay, this is the spot. And then it wasn't. And I remember I was coming back one day, and we were going back to the camp after the morning hunt, and a bunch of the guys had driven by one of our other properties, and there's this big 12-point drop time in that area, and the guys had seen it as they were driving, and so everybody's like, I'm going there tonight. And I was like, I wanted to go to that spot, but I was like, well, we don't need 10 of us hunting this spot, so whatever, I guess I'll go to my other smaller spot. And it was the last day of the hunt. Or no, sorry, actually, it was the second last day. So my boyfriend at the time, he came out with me to that property, and we're sitting there in the morning, and I hear a shot go off. And he texts me, he's like, I shot a buck. And he's like, stay there for a bit, and then come help me, and we'll track it. And so I went over to meet him, and, we had good blood trail. We looked for that deer all day, and we never found it. And it broke his heart because, he's been hunting his whole life, and he's never had that happen. I'm sure you guys can relate to how difficult that is.
Oh, yeah.
And we never knew what happened to it. There's a lot of coyotes and stuff too in our area. So he might have gotten caught up with them. But so the next day was when I wanted to go to that other property where we'd seen that 12-point, and everybody was going there. So I was like, whatever, I guess I'll just go here. And I didn't want to go there because I'm thinking, there's blood all over this place. Like, deer are going to come in here. And there's about 15 minutes left of the hunt, and I'm sitting there, haven't seen anything, and I'm thinking another year. No deer, like this sucks. And then I heard just like a twig snap behind me, and I kind of like casually looked over my shoulder thinking like it's a squirrel, like always. And then I just see this big rack come up, and I almost passed out. Like, no joke, I almost fucking passed out. I was like, holy shit, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen. And I wasn't in a stand. I was like literally sitting on the ground with my back up against a stump. And he came up behind me, which was the one place I didn't think he'd come from because that's where the house is, not far behind me. But that's where he came. And so I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get turned around without him hearing me or smelling me or seeing me. So I'm just like very, very carefully trying to get turned around. And I pull up on him, and he was kind of like in between a couple like young little spruce. And so I was like, all right, just wait for the shot. And then he walked up, and he was still kind of covered, but I had like a laneway to the bread basket, and I was like, gonna wait. And then he jerked his head up. I was like, all right, it's now or never. So I took the shot, and he took off, and I felt good about the shot, but I was like, I'm not letting this thing go away. So I just kept shooting at him. And
that's awesome.
So that happened. So as soon as he was like out, I watched him as far as I could see him until he disappeared. And I mean, he probably only ran about maybe 80 yards, but he kind of disappeared into the woods. So I called the guys. I'm like, I just shot at a huge buck. I need you to get out here. Like, come help me. And they're like, all right, just wait a minute. Don't go after him yet. So I waited and waited, which felt like 2 days of waiting, but it was really only like, 20 minutes. So I get up and I'm looking for blood, and I can't see blood anywhere. It's getting dark, and it's all leaves on the ground too, so it's hard to see. And so I was like, all right, there was this one tree that was the last point where I saw him. And when he was running away, he kind of held up for a second at that tree. I'm like, I'm going to just walk out to that tree, and if there's no blood, then I missed him. Because I was like, either he stopped for a second because he was like, what was that? Or he stopped because he was dying. And as I'm walking out to the tree, I look over and I just see this big rack just laying there on the ground. And it was the greatest moment of my life. I was like, I have played some big shows and I've done a lot of high adrenaline things with my music, but like nothing compared to that moment of knowing that I got that deer. And so I walked up to it, and I mean, it was such an amazing moment because I was out there by myself, and I was so proud of myself. I'm like, I did this all on my own. And so I walked up and I said a prayer and I said, thank you. And I had so much adrenaline, so I didn't know what to do. So I just grabbed him and I started just dragging him out of the woods.
That's awesome.
And finally the guys get there, and I kind of dragged him out onto the trail or whatever. And the guys get there, and I'm thinking, okay, I think this is like a pretty big deer, but we'll see. Either they're going to be like, oh, like nice deer, or they're going to be like, holy shit. Well, they walked up and they were like, holy shit. And they're just like, they're all excited for me because I'm like their little sister, and they're the ones that kind of showed me the ropes and everything. And they're like, so like, where are you sitting? And I'm telling the story, and they're like, well, if you're sitting there, like, you didn't see him drop here? I'm like, well, no, he didn't. That's not where he dropped. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, he dropped over there. Like, you moved it? I was like, yeah, I could lift a fucking Chevy right now. Like, you don't understand. And so they helped me carry it out. We put him in the back of my truck and closed it up. We drove to the camp, and I'm like, don't tell any of the guys anything. Because one, I just wanted to make sure that I had him before we said anything. And we pulled up to the camp, and I'm like, hey, like, how'd it go? And I see anything? And I was like, no, man, like, nothing. I'm like, hey, can you just grab me a beer, though, out of the back of my truck? And one of the guys drops the tailgate, and they're all like, oh, my God. So, needless to say, we got very drunk, and we celebrated. And
there you go.
I learned. And that was just, that was a big thing for me, not even just as a hunter, but, like, I don't know, as a female, as somebody who is new to the sport. I mean, it was such an incredible feeling. And ever since then, it's just been that whole, like I said, that whole process of being out there and like enjoying it with your friends, cleaning the deer, preparing the meat, serving it to your family. Every time you pull that meat out of the freezer, you know exactly where it came from, and you know that the animal died in a humane way. And for me, my ideal is one day I'm going to have like a farm with a garden and chickens, and if I could just live off of that and meat I hunt, like, that's the ideal.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Amen. Crack it.
Shabine.
That's a really cool story. So you dabbled, actually, I saw one of your pictures on Instagram with, you were bow hunting in Illinois, right?
Yes,
so,
I did. So a couple of my buddies that are songwriters in town, they ended up going in on a property in southern Illinois. And one of my co-writers, they were trying to kind of have a thing where they'd have like artists and songwriters come up to the camp, and we would hunt, but it would also be a thing where, like, if other people came, like if they're doing like a, they'd pay to come to the camp and whatever, and we'd hang out and like play songs at night and stuff. And it was kind of part of the draw for the camp, and in return, we could go up there and hunt whenever. We just paid for our tag. So I started going up there. I still have not got a deer with my bow yet. That's my next thing for next season.
There you go.
So that was my first year bow hunting. I mean, the only other bow hunting I'd done, I did do a bear hunt in Manitoba a couple years ago, but it was with a crossbow. But do you guys know the Canada and the Rough guys, the Beasley brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're actually from really close to my hometown, and
oh, no kidding.
They were fans of my music, I guess. And when I shot that buck, I posted a picture, and as as you know how it goes. You get the haters and people saying stuff. And one of the brothers, I can't remember if it was Keith or which one, but they posted on my picture and just said, you know, great buck, like you're killing it. Don't worry about what everybody says. And they sent me a really nice message, and I was like, man, like I'm such a fan of your show. Like that's so cool that you guys posted and kind of had my back. And then we started talking, and they're like, well, you know, we've been wanting to do something on the show with like a country artist, and we haven't really found the right fit. And we've actually never had a female, you know, in the music, and we'd love to have you out. Would you want to do a bear hunt? I was like, yeah, like absolutely, let's do it. And then we're getting closer, and they're like, all right, so it's gonna be we're gonna do crossbow. And I was like, I've never shot a crossbow. This is a little intimidating. They're like, it's fine. You're gonna fly out the day before. We'll get it sighted in. You'll be good. And I'm like, okay, so it's going to be my first time bear hunting, my first time shooting a crossbow, and it's going to be on camera. Like, no pressure. It's fine. And I'm like, I don't want to be that one girl that went on the show and didn't get anything.
And just for our listeners, can you name that show again?
It's called Canada in the Rough.
Nice.
Yeah, so we went out to Manitoba, and, I mean, first of all, it's probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever hunted. It was, I mean, every spot we went to was gorgeous. And it was such a cool experience because it was the first animal I'd ever hunted that, because, I mean, bears, like, you can actually just watch them, because a lot of the times, especially if it's like a mature boar or it's an older bear, like, a lot of times they know you're there, they just don't care because they're hungry and they're the king, you know, and they're not as threatened, as skittish as, you know, like, say, a deer or a turkey or whatever. So it was really cool because, I mean, the whole week, I mean, I was seeing bears. I saw mostly a lot of sows, and a lot of them had cubs, so it was kind of, you know, obviously you're not going to shoot those. And then finally, on the last day, I still hadn't gotten anything, and I was like, and we would usually go out kind of early afternoon and hunt through till, I think we'd usually be out there till like 8 or 9 when the sun went down. And I was like, guys, I'm going to sit in that stand from when the sun comes up until the sun goes down. Like, I am getting a bear today. I am not leaving Manitoba without one. So we went out in the morning and we sat. We saw a boar, but it was still kind of small. And I was like, all right, this afternoon it's going to be the thing. So we went back out into a new stand, and I had just sat down, and I looked over, and this big boar comes walking out, and my camera guy was still like getting set up, and I'm like, bear, and I'm like trying to be quiet. I'm like, holy shit, like this is it. And he came out, and he ended up sitting down on the bait pile behind. He was like behind this big log. And he sat there and ate for like 35 minutes. And I'm sitting there just like shaking and waiting for my moment. And then he finally gets up and he starts walking out, and he's about to turn broadside. And he turned broadside with a tree directly where I need to shoot. That's like the only part of him that's covered.
Man.
And I'm sitting here. I'm like, I've never been shaking so bad. I'm thinking like, I cannot screw this up. I can't screw this up. And then he finally started moving forward, and we realized we had like a GoPro camera on the ground, and he started eating the camera.
Oh,
that was on the ground. And this is all, if you watch the episode, you can see all this. And then finally, so we kind of made some noise to try and get his attention and get him to move a little bit. And he finally moved just enough that I could take my shot. I took the shot, and I mean, I felt good about it, but I also thought maybe it was a little low. And so I look at the camera guy, I'm like, did I get it? Like, did I get it? And he looks at me and he's like, all right. He's like, okay, so we're going to go back a minute. He's like, I want you to, you know, talk like we're, you know, like the bear's coming out again so we can get the right footage. And he wouldn't tell me anything. And so we did all that. And then finally I look at him and he goes, yeah. He goes, you nailed him right in the heart. And I'm like freaking out. I'm losing my shit. And I guess they just wanted to get that, you know, real reaction. And
yeah.
So we went out and we found him. We brought him back, and first of all, that was some of the best meat I've ever had. It was incredible.
Oh yeah.
And I'd heard like kind of mixed reviews about bear meat. I don't know. I mean, I know it has a lot to do with like what they eat and like the area that they're in, but this bear was delicious. And so I took some of it home. There was a couple families on the reserve that we were hunting at that were kind of on hard times, so I actually left a lot of it for them because I wasn't going to bring the whole bear back anyway, which was really cool. And then, you know, I got the hide skin, so I've got like a bear rug now at the house, which is pretty
hell
awesome.
yeah!
It was a really cool experience. But I'll tell you this: when I did post it on my social media, it was really ugly. I mean, I got I got death threats. I have people saying just horrible things to me and about me, and like posting stuff about me. And I was in the midst of trying to put out a new single, and my label was really cool. But I mean, they knew who I was when they signed me. They knew that was a part of my life. I mean, it's a part of my brand. It's part of who I am. I talk about it. It's in my music. It's everything. And it's kind of funny to me that God forbid a country singer actually do country things.
Yeah, right.
Like all these people, bitching about it. It's like, well, I'm sure you go to Luke Bryan concerts and sit out in the crowd singing, hunting, fishing, and loving every day. But when somebody actually does it, like, you've got a problem with it. And so that was one of the things that, like, it kind of pissed me off a little bit, and it's been something that I kind of like struggle with because my music is always going to be my priority, and obviously, I want to take care with my career because it's so precarious in this industry. But at the same time, I'm not going to hide who I am, and especially not in country music. I mean, hunting and the outdoors go hand in hand with country music, and I look at it this way. I'm like, if you don't like it, that's fine. You can go buy a Taylor Swift record then. You're not for me anyway.
I love that.
And I mean, nothing against Taylor Swift. Like, she's great. It's just, this is what I do. I'm a redneck. I like to hunt. This is a huge part of my life, and I'm not going to hide that part of me. And I'm lucky to have a team that has supported me in that. But it is kind of a never-ending battle, and me knowing that every time I post something that I'm going to get that backlash and I'm going to get that hate. But it's just, it comes a lot from ignorance, honestly, and people not being educated about what responsible hunting really is. And I've really tried to make a point and an effort of talking about that as much as posting the pictures and explaining, first of all, I don't hunt anything that I don't eat. I don't trophy hunt. The only thing I've ever hunted that I don't eat is coyotes, and that's predator control, and it has to happen, and it's for the well-being of the rest of our wildlife and our environment. And I think what a lot of people don't understand about conservation, they like to say, oh, well, like, just let nature do its thing. Well, no, we are a part of it. We are a part of that whole food chain and that whole cycle. And so we are a part of that conservation as much as any other predator.
Yeah, we are a predator. That's what we are.
And the thing, people say, well, it's an unfair advantage because, you have weapons. And I said, well, you know what? God creates every creature with their defenses. For a bear, it's size and strength and, teeth and claws. And, every predator has their thing. Our strength is intelligence. And it's intelligence that helped us to create weapons so that we can hunt. Because, I mean, that's about the only way you're going to kill a bear, for example. I mean, we're not in the Revenant here. I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio, fighting a bear to the death with my bare hands.
Oh, yeah. Yo, that was a good movie.
That was a great movie. A little misleading, but great movie.
Yeah.
But no, I just, I really, and it's interesting because it's all about the way that you approach it. And I think that it's something that is important in the hunting community that we have to understand and embrace, that there are ways to go about things and ways to talk about things that are going to get you the result you want, which is education and understanding within the people that don't understand it. And it's not approaching them, well, fuck you. If you don't like it, fuck you. It's the approach of, hey, you know what? Like, if you want to have an educated conversation about this where I can actually explain to you and give you some information, and a lot more people are open to that than you think. And I've actually had people, that have said shitty things to me, and I messaged them and I said, hey, here's the facts of this, and here's the reality of what I do. And honestly, like 9 times out of 10, they'll come back and say, wow, you know what? I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. And I really respect you having that conversation with me. And, and that is a part of, I think it's part of a responsibility as a hunter and as a conservationist to be able to kind of take the high road and be the bigger person and just be able to have a respectful and educated conversation with people that just don't understand.
Man, I have an outline in front of me, right? You just answered like at least 10 of my questions. And you hit everyone, like, hit it right on the head. Man, that's so good to hear. especially because here at East Coast Bowhunting Podcast, that's our number one goal is to bring conservation numbers up, and we do focus on that as well as bringing like new and old hunters back into the woods. Old hunters that kind of got away from it for whatever, if life smacked them in the face or even disabilities, what have you. And our main goal at this present time really is to get reputable or influential women on the show, so this way they could hear their perspective as well. Because that's going to be the segue for all this and how we're going to succeed. And we strongly believe in that women are a huge part of our success in bringing those numbers up for many reasons. And you just touched on them all. So that was really, really awesome to hear. Go ahead, crack one.
Shabeen to all the women hunters.
You know, I appreciate that, and you know, I mean, I think just like with anything else, there are people that do it wrong, and there are people that do it right. And I think, unfortunately, with the way social media works and everything right now, you know, there unfortunately are a lot of women that exploit hunting, and I say that in quotation marks. I say that lightly.
I think I feel how you mean too. Please elaborate too.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know, it's become, unfortunately, it's become a vehicle for fame and likes and endorsements and sponsorships and money, and it's not about it's not really true about what hunting is actually about, which is about. For me, it's about conservation. For me, it's about my personal sanity. Like I said, it's my escape. It's how I get my head right. And it's how I'm able to take a step back from the life that I live, which is crazy, and it can get the best of you sometimes. And it allows me to have an opportunity to reset. It allows me to have an opportunity to just kind of unwind a little bit. And it gives me, I mean, I spend a lot of time in the woods, talking to God and praying and just kind of reconnecting with nature and the gift that is our earth and nature and the animals that have been put out for us. And I think it's just, it gets represented the wrong way. And unfortunately, the women and men alike who are real true hunters, who are moral, ethical, true hunters, who are doing it for the right reasons and are doing it for conservation, are the least in the forefront, and especially when it comes to social media. And it's really done a disservice to our hunting community. And that's why it is important to me. I'm not going to make it my whole thing because like I said, my focus is music.
Right.
But if I am going to post about it, I'm going to make an educated post. I'm going to explain everything that goes into it and the whole story behind it. And yeah, I'm not obligated to. I don't have to. But I do think it's important, and I do think that it's a responsibility, and it is a little bit of an obligation to us if we want, you know, to have a betterment of hunting and conservation. It is on us to put the right information out there and to present things in the right way and to kind of get rid of some of the bad stereotypes. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, as a female, I'm kind of already in the negative, having to like almost extra prove myself, you know, that it's a real thing. Which I don't care. I don't have anything to prove. I know who I am, and I know what I do, and I know why I do it. But, you know, I mean, I've been asked to do a lot of different, like, hunting shows and, you know, podcasts and interviews, and I'm very, very careful about the ones that I choose to do because I want to make sure that it's going to be represented in the right way. I want to make sure that the people I'm doing it with, that their beliefs are aligned with mine, and there's a lot that aren't. I mean, I got asked to do this show, and it was just like, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't want to like.
No, go ahead. Say it. Say it. This is
please do.
Raw and real. Say it.
Well, it was a show called For Loves or For
Love or For
Likes.
Likes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you decided no.
Yeah. Well, you know, Matt had approached me. I mean, Matt's always been a nice guy to me. Like, I have no issues with him. I'm not trying to like trash talk him or anything. And I understand, you know, everybody's trying to make their mark and do their thing in any way they can, and that's fine. But for me, I was like, I'm not going. First of all, I don't need to go on this show because I don't have to prove at all why I hunt. I know why I hunt, and I just was concerned about the way I could be represented,
or even
like
portrayed.
Yeah,
yep.
You know, with any reality show, that's what they do. They chop up things you say, and they, they chop to one certain look on your face, and all of a sudden you're being presented in a way that's not accurate. And, and also some of the people that they've had on the show are not aligned with what I do or how I do things. And I mean, to each their own, but I do think because of the issues that we struggle with in hunting, and the reason there are people that hate it so much, it's not from the people that are doing it right. It's for the people that are doing it wrong.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't want to be a part of pushing that agenda or that look or that sort of atmosphere. I just don't want to be a part of it. So, I'm very careful about the ways that I insert myself as Megan, the artist, and as a person, and as somebody who is in the public eye, so to speak, now, because it can be twisted around, and I want to be represented the way that I am.
That's so cool to hear. And I have a question since we're on the subject. Why did you decide to come on the show, East Coast Bowhunting Podcast?
Well, I just kind of followed, what you guys are doing and watched your social media and stuff. And, I mean, it seemed legit. It seemed like you guys were in line with my beliefs and kind of doing things the right way. And so, yeah, I just, you guys seem like good people. So.
We really appreciate that, because we actually, we do squeeze, we're all working class. So, we do squeeze this in with our day by day. And, it's really a challenge, not only just because of, doing the actual podcast, but to do it for what you said, for the right reasons. And the flack that we usually get is because sometimes we're known to be a little too real. But in all day by day, and even in the music industry, I mean, that's not to say it's cliche. Well, it is a little cliche. Oh, we're just real. But that's the truth. It's like we're just ourselves, and we're aiming for the ultimate goal. And every hunter and musician and outdoors person is just that real person, because they have the passion for the outdoors. And this is going to be a bit of a hard transition, but it sounds like the outdoors is a big influence to your music. And one of my favorite songs that you actually put out before is, and naturally so, because we're sponsored by Should Be in Brewing, is I Believe in Beer. So I want to kind of segue back into music, because I mean, you're very, very on top of your game. Like you said, that's your number one priority. And it's so awesome to just hear someone in the music industry. Again, shout out to Nick Hoffman. You guys, I'm telling you, you guys could probably collaborate on something really cool, because he has the same exact views. And you guys are influential in the music industry to the point that it's something to be said for your average hunter, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reality is that, I have a platform, to be heard and to be looked at, through my music. And I mean, and I'm also very careful about that too, because I'm also very reticent about people that are musicians that use that platform to push other agendas that maybe they aren't really truly educated on. And I will be the first person to say that I am still in many ways new to the outdoors and to the hunting world. I still have a lot to learn. And so, but I have, that being said, I have put a lot of time and energy into the research and really truly understanding what I'm doing and, and the conservation and the way all this works. And trying to do things the right way, but I still have a lot to learn. And so, in no way am I ever going to put myself out there as a hunting expert or whatever, because I'm far from it.
No, that's actually very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you're very humble and being very, very vulnerable in saying that, because, I mean, we have between the three of us, we're 3 different level experienced hunters. And that's what it's about, is getting everyone involved, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. So we applaud you for saying that, for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. I that's why, and the thing is that you don't become good at anything by thinking you're already good at it.
Right.
You just don't, whether it's music or hunting or whatever. I mean, if I go hunting with someone that I haven't been with, or I'm hunting something I haven't hunted before, I'm like the annoying person with a million questions because I want to do it right. And I want to do it responsibly. I want to be smart. I want to understand that every little thing that I'm doing, why it might be detrimental to my hunt or why it's important to do certain things and what things are important and what things aren't. And everybody has their own strategies and their own ways of hunting. I mean, we got good old boys back home that go out and shoot deer every year in their blue jeans and their orange vest with a cigarette in their mouth, you know, and that's, and it's like, and then you've got the guys that spend, you know, thousands of dollars on the gear and the scent control and the this and that. And it's like, and I mean, you know, a lot of it is luck. It's really truly being in the right place in the right time and being a skilled and patient hunter and knowing the animal and knowing how to read the animal. And a lot of that just comes from trial and error and missing a few before you get one, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, I'm always still learning. Well, this year I got my very first turkey. Finally, I broke my turkey curse because I've been at turkey hunting a few times with nothing.
Awesome.
And it was great. My buddy Colt. So he's kind of starting a page. He's kind of doing a bit of the guide. So he does like bow fishing, and like hunting and stuff. And so he's got a page on Instagram. If anybody wants to check it out, it's called Foul Ambitions. He's one of my good friends. He's a great guy. He's grown up with it. He takes it very seriously and very respectfully. And so he had said, he's like, man, we got to get you out and get you a turkey. I was like, yeah, dude, like say when. And so we went out for the spring season this year here in Nashville.
Hey Meg, I'm sorry to interrupt. I truly am.
No, you're fine.
But it sounds like you're getting under a bear attack right now. What's going on over there? Can you paint the picture for us?
It's raining really hard.
That's what I figured. That's what we thought.
Yeah,
all right.
Sorry.
No. You don't have to apologize for Mother Nature. It's just for our listeners, so this way they know. You know, because I'm sure it's been on their mind.
It's raining.
Okay, cool. I'm like, damn, this girl is hardcore. She's like hunting right now.
Yeah, I'm fighting off a bear actually as we speak.
There you go.
I saw that turkey. That was an absolute giant.
With big old spurs too. Oh,
and I love you took the binder book and used it as a measuring tool. I thought that was great.
Well, it was okay. So that was a really crazy hunt, and honestly, after that hunt, like turkey hunting became quickly like my new favorite thing because, I mean, turkeys are so smart, you know, and they're tough to get, you know, and we had, so Colt and I, there's a lot of public land in Nashville, but there's a few spots that are only accessible by water. So they don't get hunted as heavily because, you know, not everybody has a boat. So he's like, all right, we're going to hit up these spots. I think there's a couple really good ones. We're going to take the boat out. So we the first place we pulled up to, we pulled up and Colt started calling, and he's an amazing caller. Like I will be the first to say I did not call the turkey in. That was all Colt. I mean, I'm still learning, and you know, I've learned a lot. He's been teaching me, and he's like, look, you know, you do your thing. I'm going to do some calls, and we'll get it together. So it was a definite team effort. And so when we first got there, he started calling, and we're getting gobbles right away, and we're looking at each other like it's going down, like it's happening. And then we realized when we got out to our spot that the gobbles we were hearing were actually coming from across the river, because the sound carries so well over water. It sounded like he was closer than he was. So we're like, all right, let's pull up. Let's try and go over there, see if we can catch him. Went over there, didn't have any luck. Went to a third spot. We had a hen walk in. Didn't really hear anything, though. Finally went to the fourth spot. So it was probably about 9:30 at this point. And Colt was like, look, you know, whenever you're ready to call it, just let me know. And I said, yeah, we'll call it when I got a dead bird. Like, that's it. So we sat down, and so we had our decoy set up, and he had like a fan. And he's like, all right, we might have to crawl. We might have to kind of go after it. I was like, I'm in, whatever it is, like, let's do it. So we were sitting there, and we had a gobbler. He was calling back, and we had him coming in, and I was excited, thinking it's about to happen. And then he got hung up somewhere in these hardwoods. And so he was like, all right, he's like, well, we can sit here and we can keep calling. He's like, or we can try and get over there and get closer and see if we can come up on him. And luckily it was very windy that day. So that was kind of on our side because it was masking a lot of our noise. So that's when there's a video of me crawling. So we were like crawling across this cornfield, and it was so freaking hot outside. Like I've never sweat so much in my life. And we finally get up to this hardwoods, because before we started crawling, I actually saw the tom probably about 300 yards across, and he was strutting, and I was like, we're going after him. So we're trying to be really sneaky and slowly and carefully, bit by bit, get across here, and we're kind of hidden by the corn a little bit, and then we get up to this one point, and it was, normally it's a ditch, which had been turned into basically a creek, and he's like, well, how wet do you want to get? And I was like, as wet as I fucking have to. So we're trying to crawl across this river on like these logs and stuff, and I'm soaked up to my knees. We finally get across there. We get up to the edge of these hardwoods to this field where I'd seen him, and Colt was ahead of me. He gets up there and he turns and looks at me, and he's got that look, and he's like, points at it in front of him. He's like, all right, get up there. And so I get up there and I sit on the corner of the hardwoods there, and I look, and there was this big like tree bush thing, and all of a sudden I see him come out, and he's strutting, and I was like, he might have been at about like maybe 55 yards. So I was like, okay, maybe still a bit of a long shot. Hopefully he's going to start coming in this way. And he didn't, and he started walking further away. And at that point, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, fuck it, I'm taking the shot. I felt good about it. I've got him in my sights. I'm doing it. So I took the shot, and he dropped right there. And it was awesome. Like, Colt was like screaming. He's running out. He's like, holy shit, that was amazing. And so also, side note, so when I had gotten out there, so I have a 12 gauge that I brought out, and I didn't realize when I left in the morning, but my boyfriend, when he was putting away our guns, decided to take the choke out of it and didn't tell me. And so I realized when we sat down, and I kind of, I was just looking at my gun, getting everything ready, and I'm like, there's no fucking choke in my gun. What the hell? And so I text Mitchell, and he's like, because he hunts too, and he's an artist as well, and he's on the road. I'm like, why is there no choke in my gun? He's like, well, like he's like, I don't like to leave him in, can get rusted. I was like, okay, but you didn't tell me, and I wasn't thinking to check it, 3:30 in the morning if there was still a choke in my gun, because I hadn't taken it out. And so I was like, I said to Colt, I'm like, well, what should we do? And he had this little 20 gauge. He's like, honestly. He's like, just take my 20 gauge. Like, I think you probably still have a better shot with that than without a choke. So I took the shot, and it was with the 20 gauge. And I knew it was like kind of far, but I still felt very confident in the shot. And Colt paced it out. He's like, dude, that was at least 63 yards, maybe a little bit more. He's like, that's fucking insane. Like, that is crazy. And then we're looking at it. I'm like, I think this is a big bird. I mean, I never shot one before. He's like, this is the biggest turkey I've ever even seen on public land. And he's like, you just dropped it at like 60 plus yards with a 20 gauge. And it was his birthday that day actually too. And he was so excited. He's like, I could not be more excited if I shot it myself, because he loves that. I mean, he's been hunting his whole life, and he loves taking people out, teaching them. And for him to be able to get me my first bird, it was just the best day for both of us. And he turns to me, he goes, Megan, don't you ever let anybody tell you that you don't hunt hard. He's like, every fucking guy I know would have given up like 2 hours ago.
Hell yeah.
He's like, you earned that bird. So it was just so exciting. Like, I've never had such an exciting or eventful hunt before. It was just so cool. And I felt, everything that went through it, the crawling on my stomach, the going through the river. I was like, I earned this. Like, I feel very good in putting this meat on the table, and everything that came up to it. And it was just awesome. It was the best feeling.
Hell yeah. That was an awesome story, too.
I have to ask, what was the measurements on that? Because that was an absolute mature giant. Do you know what the beard was anyway?
Beard? What's that?
How big was the beard?
I think I wrote down, I think it was just under 11 inches.
Yeah, you could tell by the binder. That's pretty accurate. Yeah, it
was a giant.
For sure.
I wrote it.
Great, congratulations.
It was 11 and a half inch beard and 1 1/4 inch spurs. Wow. And he was about 19 pounds.
Oh, that's a nice
big
bird.
mature bird.
That's a nice
bird.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And just to paint the picture even better is Shabine. You have a badass, like, I don't even know how I even saw the glimpse. Maybe one of your action shots when you're playing music, but you have a badass tattoo on one of your forearms, don't you not?
Yeah, I have my first buck, the one that I told you about. I took the picture of the actual deer into my tattoo guy, and so that's his actual rack, right down to the hook brow tine. So that's my first buck, and then I've got the coordinates where I shot him.
Yo, that's dope.
Hell
as
yeah.
fuck. That's like
So awesome.
I don't even know. Obviously, the bone caught my eye. I'm like, oh, what's this? I'm like, damn. I'm like, this is pretty badass. I mean, you're definitely the prototypical like advocate for conservation and especially music. Like music, I hold very, very close, dear to my heart. And then just to get that all into the mix, it's like that's what it's all about. You know, for the love of the game, So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and like I said, it wasn't even just about the hunting. It was like a milestone for me. It was something like I'm a very independent person. I like to do everything for myself, and you know, for me, that whole process of like getting that land for myself, learning the land, finding the right spot to sit, you know, waiting and having that deer come out and making a clean shot, and the whole process of it was just kind of a big thing for me to know that I did that for myself. And also, like, you know, if the apocalypse comes, like, I'm good. Like, I feel confident in my survival abilities, you know?
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, that's how we all think, too. It's like when shit hits the fan, you know, the people that don't hunt or the antis, they're definitely going to come to us first, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
So what's your this is a super hard right turn, and I'm sorry, but what was your most memorable concert that you had? Or actually, I'm sorry, scratch that last question. Last night was pretty huge for you, right?
Yes.
Can we touch on that? I want to be sensitive to your time. Do you have time to kind of dip into that bit?
I've got like a couple more minutes, but for sure, I'm happy to talk about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, last night was the CMA Ontario Awards, which is basically, so that's like the Country Music Awards for my province, which is Ontario, which would be like a state. And I'm not saying that to be condescending. I have to say that to a lot of my American friends. They're like, "What's a province?" And I'm like, "It's a state." So it was. I mean, it was huge. I had 6 nominations going in, and I came out with 5 awards. I was a Female Artist of the Year, Album of the Year, Video of the Year, Songwriter of the Year, and Fan's Choice. And the Fan's Choice one is especially big just because, I mean, the way that the other categories are voted on, it's like within the association. So you have to be like a member. So it's a lot of industry people. So it's more industry voted, which is important too. Of course, like to have the respect of your peers is awesome. But at the end of the day, fans pay our bills. And so to know that, you know, to win that Fans' Choice Award was huge because, I mean, there's no politics involved. It's just simply people putting in their vote for me, the people that pay their hard-earned money to buy my records and my tickets and come to my shows. And that was really, really a big deal for me, and just really kind of an important little boost for me to know, like, you're doing the right things.
That is so cool.
Well, and I didn't know this. So last year I had won the Fans' Choice Award as well, and I didn't know this, but apparently I'm the first female solo artist ever to win that award.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Crazy.
That's awesome. No, not creepy. That's so cool. That's really cool. And just for the sole fact of what you just said, it has nothing to do with politics or anything. So, I mean, it's just... we tip our hats off to you. You're doing it. You're doing it. And I hope I hope your hater list keeps on climbing. I really do.
Well, sure
in the most positive way, you know?
Bad publicity is good publicity.
I've just kind of stopped caring. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I think that it was a hard transition. Like, when I kind of made that transition from, like, being sort of an up-and-coming artist to being more established, it just means, you know, the bigger you get, the more public you become, and the more people are exposed to you and your social media and your presence and everything, which means the more people that are not going to like me. And I realize that not everybody is going to like me or my music or what I do or what I stand for. And that's okay, because, you know, that's the case with anybody. You know, every artist out there has their fans and has their haters. And for me, at the end of the day, if I feel right with myself and right with God and right with my family and the people that really matter to me and that know me, then that's really all that matters. And I know that I have such a great circle of people around me that if I ever, you know, did become a shithead, they'd be the first ones to tell me.
Yeah, hell yeah. So. Amen to that. Amen to that for sure. Hey. Oh. You made it to the one of the closing segments, Ninja Tip of the Day. So,
Okay.
so Meghan Patrick, ninja tip of the day. What best outdoor advice do you have for our listeners? Or even life in general. Even life in general.
Well, I mean, life in general, like I said, I mean, this is kind of touching on what I talked about before. Just always stay humble and understand that there's always more that you can learn, and you can learn different things from unexpected places and unexpected people, and just always kind of be a sponge and take everything into account. Take things with a grain of salt as well. But I think the biggest thing, and I kind of think about this in terms of my music and with hunting, you have to remember why you're there in the first place, which is for the love of it. I make music because I love it, because it's in my blood, in my soul, in my roots. It's a huge part of who I am. And when things don't go the way I want it, in the industry, whether it's, radio charts or awards or whatever it is, I have to remember why I'm doing this in the first place. And it's because I love it, and because it just, the main thing is making music that changes people's lives and helps them get through the day in one way or another. And when it comes to hunting, it's the same thing. You have to remember why you're there in the first place. And yeah, it's great when you get to put dinner on the table, but also don't forget how amazing all the rest of it is. The experience of it, and the thrill of it, and the tranquility of being alone and quiet in nature, and just that is, you can't put a price on that. And so, we all have those days, the frustrating hunts or whatever, where it doesn't pan out the way you want it to. But you just have to also be like, you know what? I just spent a day out in the woods and it was great. Or I spent a day out in the woods with my friends, or whatever it is. There's always like a positive to find in there. So just stay grounded about what your original purpose was.
That was really good advice. Really good advice. and very positive too. Very positive. So especially for in any new and older hunter or experienced hunter can take that to the bank too. So we'll put a spin on that real quick, and we'll go to the opposite spectrum. Hit it, Ryan. So, Meghan Patrick, this is our closing segment.
I hear OMG in there. Yeah. Be scared. Be scared.
What rattles your antlers? What gets under your skin in either the hunting industry or life in general? What bothers you the most?
In life in general, there is nothing I hate more than a liar or thief. I mean, nobody is perfect. That is for sure. I certainly am not. But I really hate dishonesty, and I hate people who steal. Those are probably two of my hard stop biggest pet peeves just in general in life. And in the hunting industry, to me, it's just anybody. When you start putting aside morals and ethics to get a kill, you're in the wrong. It's not. I mean, I think you can definitely take the do whatever it takes approach in the sense of putting in the time and the work and the research and the effort. But when you start crossing those lines where what you're doing is either unsafe to yourself or people around you or to the animal, or it's unethical, that's a no-go for me.
That's really awesome. We couldn't agree more. And Meghan, I mean, you've been such an awesome guest. I mean, what's nice is I barely had to do any talking. I mean, no lie, I have a whole couple pages of outlines, and you answered everything without even me asking. You're natural. You're a naturalist. I encourage you to do more podcasts, especially. Where our title sponsor is actually Working Class Bowhunter out of Illinois. So
okay, great.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for them, and it'd be cool to hear you on their show as well. It's just great minds think alike, and like-minded people stay together. So we really appreciate you coming on the show. And the way we like to end the segment, or the episode rather, is a round of positivity. So I'll point the tables towards Trev first. Round of positivity.
Always. From the fucking beginning, I'm first. Thanks. My round of positivity is just, I mean, just hearing a badass chick like yourself out there that has the right beliefs and chasing the right dreams when it comes to the hunting industry. And I hope that this episode encourages other badass chicks out there to reach out for their goals and keep chasing them.
And when Trev says chicks, is with the utmost respect because he does mean women hunters. No, it's just.
I'm sorry.
It's us being us.
You're good. You're fine. Hey, listen. You know what else is my biggest pet peeve? Actually, let me just add this real quick.
Hopefully it's not chicks.
How fucking offended everybody is all the fucking time.
Oh, nice.
Like honestly, I'm fucking over it, man. Like it's just everybody has what makes the world go round is it takes all kinds, and everybody needs to stop thinking that their feelings are more important than everybody else's, and stop thinking that just because you don't like something doesn't mean that person is wrong. And that's the end of it.
Because Meghan Patrick said so. So take that. Chew on that. Ryan, what you got? Round of positivity.
For me, round of positivity. Every day is one day closer to opening day of whitetail season here in Connecticut. We're always, hell yeah, we're always learning something new every day. We're meeting someone new, such as yourself, Megan. And of course, the fact that I got my new Ritual 33 today. So a positive note for me, meeting new people, one day closer to opening day, and I got that new bow.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Hell
great.
yeah. Hell yeah is right. Megan Patrick, what do you have for a round of positivity?
Well, for Round of Positivity, I get to do what I love for a living, and that is amazing, and I never want to lose sight of that. And not only do I get to do what I love for a living when it comes to music, but it also allows me to do the other things I love, like make time, to be in the outdoors, and also to meet other like-minded people, because like I said, there's a lot of crossover between the hunting industry and country music. And so it's been pretty amazing that I just get to be a part of a community of people who have the same type of lifestyle as me and who kind of think the way that I do, and that's a blessing.
Amen. And I can't end it any better than that. So thank you very much.
You're not getting out of this.
Oh, come on.
No, fuck you. Fuck you.
I tried.
No way. You did it last time. You're not doing it
Let's
this
see,
time.
D-Rock, what do you got?
All right. Well, I can't close it out better than Meg here, but Round of Positivity is just really the experience of connecting to the outdoor industry in every aspect, shape, and form, especially the world of music and the world of artists. I mean, where that's a very close niche group that is heavily involved with outdoors and all different types of artists too. It doesn't have to be just country music. There's a lot of rock and I mean, I mean, Ted Nugent. I look at him more rock and roll than country, but he's got his country. Yeah, Uncle Teddy, he's the man. I mean, even down to hip hop. No, you have hip hop artists out there bow hunting too. I mean, it's all over. It's an addiction, and that's what I'm thankful for. The addiction of the outdoor community. And on that note, stay stepping
and stay slaying.
Go straight to hell. Yeah. Speaking of hell, check out East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
We keep it real on the East Coast. First of all, I'm addicted to the show.
I like that. That's cool. Oh, hunt, you live it, you breathe it.
It's a whole different world.
Just East Coast has a little bit more of an edge and a grind. It's a fantastic thing.
You guys are fucking awesome.
Well, number one is you guys like beer. I want to feel like I'm hanging with the boys.
Your guys just showed up.
But I actually saw Jesus.
The point where it is now, where it's insane.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
I just want to get the realest people possible in the industry. And if you're not pissing people off, you're not doing it right.
Nothing forced, all fucking natural.